It's your fancy. You can have it any way you want. Your fancy. You can have anything you like. It's your fancy. You can have it any way you want. Your fancy. You can have anything.
This is for you, Cancer. February is the month of the angelic frequencies of the gemstone of Amethyst. Your birthstone is ruby, Cancer, so what we need to do is see how these two gemstones actually resonate with each other. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to contact me, you can visit www.readingsbyrosemary.com, where we provide you with all the information necessary. If you'd like information on our spiritual consultations, our psychic astrology, our Rosicrucian Kabbalah, as well as classes and upcoming seminars. We have Healing Wings of Light and Money Magic. And stay tuned, because we're going to give you some information and a little bit of sort of a little teaching from one of our miracle classes, which is part of the Merkaba class, and also part about who is God, who is Satan. That's another class presentation that we're doing, because people often get very confused about, they say, well, God is good and Satan's bad, but that's not really how it all manifests. One needs to have a little bit more sophisticated understanding these days about all of these types of religious understandings. Philosophical versus scientific versus religious. So stay tuned for that. We'll just give you a little taste of that later on. February's gemstone of Amethyst has the light emanations of the astrology archangel Cambriel, and your zodiac gemstone of Ruby has the properties of light bestowed by the zodiac archangel called Muriel. Your ruling planet, the moon, and the moon is also called Luna, and also it used to be called an ancient planet, like the sun used to be called an ancient planet. So for you, your planetary gemstone would be moonstone, Cancer, okay? And you can also use pearls, and those are the precious stones used to align oneself with the energies of the planetary angel Gabriel, who is assigned to the ancient planet Luna in Kabbalah, who bestows powerful emotions which come from the heart, more powerful than any logic of the mind, who, like all angelic beings, provide the human creature with varying levels of compassion, mercy, consideration, leniency, correction, and severity. So be mindful of your own power when utilizing these potent gemstones in unison one with another. Gabriel is planetary archangel of the moon in Kabbalah, acclaimed in all Abrahamic faiths in the book of Daniel, and that's in chapter 8, verses 15 to 17. And it reads, "And it came to pass when I, Daniel, saw the vision and sought the meaning, that behold, there stood before me as it were the appearance of a man. And I heard the voice of a man between Ulai, and he called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. And he came and stood near where I stood, and when he was come, I fell on my face trembling, and he said to me, Understand, O Son of Man, for in the time of the end the vision shall be fulfilled." Now this is a very important passage, and it's very intense if you really understand what's going on here. So it's basically saying that everything gets fulfilled eventually. There's nothing in the Bible that isn't going to come to pass. It is all going to come to pass. And the various books in the Bible are all giving you different permutations of how things are going to manifest, because we're coming to the fullness of time. We are in the end times. That's not the end of the world. It's not what it says. It says end of time, the end of days and times. It's more talking about time. It's not really talking so much about just the physical world. It's more talking about how time is understood, and that will bring us to a situation where we will be able to go from one time to another, much the way we go from one place to another now. And it'll be as seemingly easy as we find that to be. Therefore, the people that, when the Lord promised you that you're going to see your loved ones again who have passed on, they're just at a different time location, and you will be able to visit them in a different time, and there will be consciousness there. And that's something that is possible, of course, through the most advanced technologies, but also this is something that's been possible since the Bible was written, and before that, because these are technologies really from Atlantis. This is Atlantean. Understand that. I mean, Lemuria is definitely a forerunner of Atlantis. Mu. But Atlantis had a lot of scientific and genetic experimentation going on, and putting everything in its proper place in a hierarchy. Now, Lemuria was much the same way. If you don't have the illusion that Lemuria was not strict and didn't have its own hierarchical structure, Atlantis did as well, and you can find a lot about that in the Emerald Tablets, plural, of Thoth the Atlantean, which we have a copy of that, and that's a very important book. In 1st Enoch, we read in chapter 9, verses 1 to 3, "And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High." The moon is known as the attribute of God the Mother, found in Isaiah 30:26, "And the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days in the day when the Lord shall bind up the wound of his people, and shall heal the stroke of their wound." This scripture from the book of Isaiah is actually the giveaway to the secret of deciphering the Torah code by getting rid of the spaces between the letters, which are also numbers, giving rise to the way to accomplish the great work of immortality. The water guardian archangel Gabriel speaks to you from your Cancer astrology archangel Muriel. This is an angelic horoscope transmission from your Zodiac angel Muriel, who resides over the crab's cardinal water nature, and here are his messages for you in the areas of love and money and health. For Muriel's love, rapture, and romance transmission, the amber angelic light frequencies of Muriel, combined with immense vitality, oscillating forth a considerably vibrant, lustrous light show from the gemstone of Amethyst, improves your relationships, bringing you a privileged reputation. This permutation of Zodiac angel Cambriel's natural 11th house attributes, in addition to your own Cancer energies, brings you an abundant amount of outstanding friends with the traditional zodiac sign of Aquarius because of the delightful properties of the gem, which distills happiness through an enlivening of the heart chakra, permeating into the physical world via vivacious expressions of the root chakra. So be aware of these chakras this month in unison with utilizing these gemstones. Muriel's money and wealth transmission is fascinating, and we're going to give you an unbelievably powerful way to accomplish great finances through the application, the correct application of these gemstones this month. Now, finances will become available through successful business innovation made possible with scientific economic theory applied during an astrological progression where moonstone energy applied to Amethyst unites astrology archangelic forces known to Muriel and to Cambriel, sustaining your relationships and reputation for primacy. And that's the key. Primacy in your preferred career field, or even whatever field of study that you've chosen for yourself. The foundation of spiritual enlightenment is found within the self and is projected outward towards the periphery of the monad, which is described in Kabbalah as everything considered not self. The root chakra is established in a cheerful environment, with February's gemstone allowing you to pour unlimited happiness into the world. In this way, you provide pleasant experiences for yourself and others as well. So it's a win-win situation. Muriel's health and fitness transmission. Health focuses on strengthening the root chakra and the lower legs, best done through a healthy, well-balanced diet and moderate exercise, as allowed by your elected physician. You will find the energetic frequencies of moonstone mixed with amethyst stimulating during February, causing you to feel more like you want to do the things that give you more energy. Your root chakra is deemed to be the most important chakra in some cultures, which consider that our familiar chakra arrangements are actually presented to us in an upside-down fashion. One should also keep in mind that although people should be treated fairly, men and women are not the same in the anatomy of their chakras. So these energy conduits are not the same configuration in females as it is in males. That's very important to understand and to keep in mind as you get into these healing modalities, especially any kind of alternative healing modalities. Most ancient methods of building chi or ki in the body via energy pathways are based on energy configurations found in the male body. What males find invigorating, females often find draining, and vice versa. Therefore, you must know your own body and trust yourself. Now keep in mind that some males have many female astrological characteristics, such as water and earth attributes in their astrology charts, while some females might have male characteristics due to strategically placed fire and air elementals in their birth charts. Astrocartographic considerations must also be brought to light for a complete revelation of inner characteristics now coming squarely and very clearly into view. Now, as we promised you, we're going to now give you a preview and a little taste of our Merkaba seminars and classes where we show you how to, and it's part of the subcategories of money manifestation and our healing wings of light. It's called The Miracle. We even have a portion on God, the identity of God, who is God and who is Satan, and what is God and what is Satan. And also, again, the miracle. Now, regarding God and Satan, who is God, who is Satan, we'll give you some of that information first, because it's important to know that it starts to be clear when you read the Old Testament that God, in the beginning, that God and Hasatan are pretty much both the same being. And if it doesn't really say that completely, you understand very clearly that Satan can do not a thing, nada, unless God gives permission. It's up to God. And Hasatan is we've said this before for years, and we'll say it again. Hasatan is pretty much the district attorney. And Jesus Christ is more like your defense attorney. And God, of course, the judge. Now, regarding who is God and who is Satan. God is the ego, brought to its fullest expression and then objectified for use by the soul outwards, achieving a higher state of being and a more expansive, integrated consciousness. Satan is the ego brought to its state of least expression, where all desires are denied, subdued, and restricted due to subjective survival, contracted and isolated consciousness. So as you see, God is the part of us that expands ourselves and also objectifies ourselves, our ego, expands our ego and objectifies our ego, so that you can get it to serve your higher self, so that you can get it to serve the soul. And Hasatan, by contrast, is the ego brought to a state of least expression, where all, again, where one lives a more aesthetic lifestyle, where one, has a robe, wears a robe only, and has a bowl, and eats only what people put in their bowl, that kind of thing. We're not saying that it's, we're not saying good or bad or whatever. We're just saying that according to Kabbalah, it's very different than all the religions that tell you that you're supposed to restrict your desires. Almost every single religion, including Christianity, tells you to restrict yourself, restrict your desires. So that's a form of actually Satanism, when you restrict all your desires. Well, I wouldn't say Satanism. It's a form. It is Satan himself. And when you are Satan, you are not a Satanist. And when you are God, you are not a whatever Christian or whatever worshiping God. Again, a Christian is not Christ. So, getting back to this, though, when you are subjective, sitting inside your own ego, and being afraid to have any desires and completely restricting yourself, you become so small that becomes Hasatan. Because what are you creating? You're creating so much space between you and other people, because you can't be exposed to anyone who's not as holy as you, or you can't be exposed to anyone who's not as high and mighty as you, and that's fine. But just understand that creates, it doesn't allow for communication, and that creates space, and space is Hasatan according to Kabbalah. So, and there's some very interesting videos on that by the Kabbalah Center, and Billy Phillips has interesting videos on how Hasatan is actually, which means the adversary is actually space itself. That's what they teach. So anyway, and it's very interesting, but anyway, there's so much to learn. So you see that as opposed to expressing yourself now, but when you're objectifying your ego, you you might indulge yourself, but you don't do it in a way that's unhealthy. And that's how I differentiate it. Because to me, there's a healthy expression of the ego and an unhealthy expression of the ego, and it seems to come through these definitions where you objectify the ego and care for it as you would a patient or something if you're a healthcare provider. Whereas you cannot care for yourself if you're subjectively inside the ego. You cannot care for it like you cannot care for yourself so well. I mean, you can, but it's harder to care for yourself when you're subjective. So, you know, I'm just saying, sometimes you need that outer expression to assist you. And again, it's about exchanges with other people. And exchanges with other people can be hygienic, but you need to have the ability to have interaction with other beings, other people. Or that's the spice of life, and that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to understand, and that's what we're here to make right. And that's what this is about. Now to continue with what I like to call my class on the miracle. See yourself as so big. The job for which you are applying is easily accomplished the moment you step through the door. Envision yourself as so powerful that a simple, well-rehearsed signature saves a forest. Know yourself as having so much integrity that all beings around you heal miraculously in your presence. Again, those are some excerpts and some ideas from our class on who is God and who is Satan, and also the miracle, part of Merkabah. A disclaimer is in order here. High magic should be used with all mindfulness, since powerful forces of manifestation are unleashed intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. Remember to chant your divine tone of I feel, or try out the higher aspect of simply meditating on the quality of feeling, and be wise, be well, be all you are meant to be, Cancer. Thank you for joining us. Join us again.